All right, we are live. We are live, and everyone, welcome on. It's gonna be a good time, and yeah, the topic again is let's talk about spirituality. So, anything around that topic, this is an open floor, so you can bring up any topics, any questions about any religion, any practice, anything like that. So it's an open floor. We're in space, and it's important to you know it's important to see from above, right? It's important to see everything from above and in a spacious place. So that's exactly how you do things, is you open up space and you observe, with a very keen eye. And that's the hardest thing to do, I think, though, is to really open and observe with that sharpness and with that precision, because it's called read between the lines, right? Always got to read between the lines of things. And, you know, even sometimes what we forget is how even the people closest to us too can suggest things which are not totally aligned to what exactly is for you, and to know that and to know yourself is very important. It's very aligned. One second here. But yeah. But yeah, being aligned is well, having a observation point is very important, right? Like, if you have no ability to observe, like that's going to be a problem, because when you're not observant, then, or when you're, I would say, if you're not observant to the fact that you are not observant, right? It's kind of like a double, um, kind of like a double layer of something, where you have to observe that you're not observant first. That's the first step in all of this, is that, okay, I know that I am not awake, and I know that, that people are, external things are also taking my attention with me. So it's important to see that, that people are taking your attention away. People are pulling you away from that observation point. Circumstances, life will carry you away in many different directions. So when you can see that, that's the starting point. You're easily suggestible, you're easily moved, and standing your ground, obviously, is standing your ground on stuff is very important, because only you know what you've been through, and only what's on the inside of yourself. So when you know. Simple as that. And but with observation then comes focus. So when you're observant and have an observing eye, you can actually focus. So we shouldn't lie about, like, if you cannot focus on something for even a few minutes, your ability to observe is quite off. And since you don't have correct observation, it can lead into delusion, or what they say, like psychological operation, a psychological operation being done on you without you even noticing, because everything operates with unseen operations, right? When you're Things are always going on in the background, whether it be in the background of your mind, or whether it be in the background of a business, or in the background of your family, right? There's always unseen processes going on that you don't know about, but they'll still occur. And then you'll find out probably later, right? You find out later. And when you find out later, it could be a good thing or a bad thing, right? Surprise. And that's the thing, though. Like, like the element of surprise is something in life, but usually surprise comes when we're not observant on the unseen operations that are occurring in and around us. Unseen operations, that's the, I mean, shoot, that might as well be the topic of today, right? Unseen operations. Because again, like even an app, if you're using an app, obviously, YouTube, TikTok, whatever it may be, there's unseen operations. There's stuff going on in the background that you don't know about, from the data and the coding to like the actual CEO, organization, and company, and that's private. That's stuff that needs to be protected, and because data is very sensitive. When data starts to get leaked, that's a problem, and actions need to be taken in order to conserve the data. So, I mean, you as a person have data on you. You have a past, you have secrets, you have privacy. And if that was all in front of everybody, it's not really a good feeling. Although some people that are, especially if you get famous, like that's always going to come up to the surface. That's always going to, or not always, but like some things can come to the surface. And I mean, you just got to deal with them, right? You just got to deal with however things come up and arise for you. These are always, courage and different virtues keep you afloat in the midst of the chaos that goes on around you. This person says thoughts are chia seeds. You want to know what's funny, actually? This person says thoughts are chia seeds. I mean, I might as well just grab chia seeds, Got some chia seeds right here. So, yeah, you know, thoughts are chia seeds, I like some chia seeds, and very good for you, right? Very good for you. So, it's yeah, unseen operations. And one of the things too, like unseen operations happen in the terms of culmination, right? So after a certain point, things culminate into something bigger and more vast. So seeing those changes build up, or seeing the build up too, you know, is quite crucial. Seeing the build up of things is very important, and it happens as you go. Something that builds up, um, in animation, and when you study emotion and animation, everything has a certain motion to it, and how you come in and how you go out is important, right? You could come in very quickly, and or an unseen operation can come in quickly and then leave slowly or release very slowly, or an unseen operation can come in slowly and move quickly, rise, can rise quickly. So, and then an unseen operation, by the way, it's a very general category, right? When an operation is unseen. And again, like it could fit into anything from a business process to you know, relationship process, or even your own spiritual walk, when you are focused and devoted on God. You know, these things can build up and culminate in a fast way, or it comes in slow, maybe even in the middle, peaks and then comes down. So you kind of have to see what the wave is, right? And how the wave forms. But usually in the natural law of motion, things come in order for something, to come about as natural human motion. It kind of sometimes has a slowness to it, and then it picks up because you have to generate your energy. And once you generate the energy, then it can rise. The energy can rise, whether that be, again, in a business operation, or even if you're doing an actual video, right? Like you're editing a video and you're doing a certain effect, and the way that the way that that effect comes in can be slow or quick, and then it has to be done intentionally, right? So when you're doing something intentionally, then you can kind of understand what's the necessary speed something comes in and how it leaves out. And then when you see the very thing leave out, like, does it stay or does it loop back around, or does it, you know, things like that. It's the laws of motion, and the laws apply everywhere. The laws apply everywhere. So gotta study the laws of motion. And I mean, shoot, we might as well make a university, right? The university. What if we made our university? What if I made a university called or at least I mean, it's already made, the subject of motion is already a thing, but that's nothing new. But I mean, hey, you gotta study the laws of motion. I mean, you may be a person that's very slow and very stagnant in yourself. No motion. It's an object at rest, right? An object at rest. And then when an object takes motion, how does it take motion? Is it a slow rising? You know, from the micro things, from you getting out of bed. Do you rise slowly out of bed? Why is your motion slow? It's because some people actually, even from the starting point, will experience like they're ready for the day. They're up and running. They're ready to go, and they have a readiness and a zeal and a fire to them. As soon as they wake up, it's like, boom, I'm ready. Whereas some people might wake up and they're groggy and they're slow and they're just like, they're shaking off they're shaking off things, like from the past, or just there's no real emotion there. It's just like, oh, okay, let me get to my senses. But then once it starts to click in your head, like, okay, I need to start the day, I need to get started on this task or that task, then it's like, okay, then we got motion. And it's like, okay, let me do this thing right here, and then you do that thing, and then within you getting from point A to point B, there can be side things that happen along the way, or it can be a smooth and effortless process. So when you're studying motion, right? When you're studying the laws of motion, then like it's yeah, when you're studying the laws of motion, it's like, okay, I understand how I move now, or I understand how things are moving and in what direction. But you can't even understand the direction you're going in if you don't even have any motion, because with the motion comes different, like, possibilities. So when you start to move in a direction, like actually move in one, then if you're not seeing any possibilities, could be a few things, right? You know, could be a few things, and could be, again, it could be negativity that is pulling you down and you're stuck. So, you're kind of in an automatic process that isn't really dictated by you. And so to get unstuck is like probably the first motion that you take, right? It's like, okay, you experience some level of being stuck. And that when you move about in life, all there is a stuck emotion. So it's like, all right, well, then the next motion or step you take is probably a step backwards and into a state of rest. And then it's like, okay, once you learn how to rest and you do that movement, then you could be like, okay, let me I have enough energy. Let me do this task again, but with this level of rest that I just, that I let me do this task with a little bit of more of a fresher mind. And the hardest part about motion is gaining traction, right? Because traction is the biggest thing that keeps you going. Like how much traction you get in something, because people get discouraged easily and they lose traction. So when you lose traction, there's no motion. It's a slowing down, right? So, so notification center Rose, thank you very much. You asked, is your head good? I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. You sent a heart. Nice. Look at that. That's cool. But you gotta explain what is your head good? That's very vague. You taught. I'm good. I'll just say that I'm good. I better hope that up here as well. So yeah, that's that. And but yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Notification. I think I love the name. Always got to be notified, right? Always got to be notified of things. There's always notifications going on in my head sometimes. My antenna is always the antenna is always on. I know when people are in my midst thinking about me, or you know, and I bet maybe someone that knows about notifications might know about that, or someone with the name notification might know about that. So notifications. That's funny. I mean, you got to be notified, right? If you're taking steps forward and there's no notifications going on in your head about whatever you're doing, then, you know, there's no flow, or there's a disconnect there. There's a disconnect from your ability to take in and receive uh, insight or wisdom, or foresight is another thing, right? Um, so, I mean, even when a notification arises, it's quite it's quite instantaneous, like it's in the moment kind of thing. I don't know how I started talking about notifications. It's funny, but yeah, like but in your headspace, you're like, when you're clear, you see the notifications, right? You see the things that come up, and got to be notified right away. So if you don't have again, like, because there's a lot of things around you, and it depends on the headspace you're in, right? Like, if you're someone that's just focused on your problems, and if you're just focused on your worldview, then sometimes it's hard to see the notifications that are going on outside of your perception, because perception is the main key here, right? Is holding perception. And but yeah, holding on to your perception, and also being able to be flexible in your perception is part of notifications. And can you view things from different angles and understand them in a way that has depth? And when you understand things on a level of depth, then, like, I think notifications come more to the surface, because that means you're engaged, right? I mean, like, it's just basic. Like, even if even if I turn on notifications for YouTube, right, it's like, that means you're engaged with whatever channel you're with, and that means that you're ready to hear or receive whatever uh whatever's coming towards you. So you're open and you're ready to receive when you're, you know in terms of notifications. So, I mean, that's part of it, right? That's part of the laws of motion. You got to be notified on the good and the bad. Like it's the bell. The bell icon, right? That's the that's the that's the symbol of a notification. So it's a symbol of a Taco Bell too. But Taco Bell. Do you guys think that Taco Bell is real? Some people say they put human meat in that stuff. You think that's true? Just a random question. Just a random question I'll throw out there. But despite that, you know, um, yeah, being clear in your head is going to be important. So only you know what's best for you and God, right? And to have this level of openness and understanding towards yourself is a part of the it's part of the unfoldment process, because I would consider too the headspace that you get into when you're in the flow and you're consistently being notified on the next steps to take or the next things to do. you know Being in that headspace requires that level of clarity to differentiate, or yeah, it requires you to differentiate between what's you and what isn't. Like, who are you actually in the moment, and what is an external thing trying to grip you into something. So, and also, again, it takes understanding yourself to a level and degree that is beyond just reactionary. So when you understand yourself on a level that is reactionary too, because that's how you relate to yourself, is by reaction. Like, even me moving my hand is a reaction to my own speech. It's not even a reaction, but it's more of like I'm going with the flow. But at a certain point, when do you know that your movements are coming from a deeper place, right? How do you know that your movements are coming from a deeper place, and not just based off of this egoic sense or this limited sense of being, and there's something that you got to first realize, like, the part of the laws of motion, right? Is that you understand that no matter what you do, that action is going to be useless. And the reason why that action is useless is because it doesn't come from stillness, or it doesn't come from a realization that you are nothing. It doesn't come from that. So we need to see how we are identified with many different things. You're identified with so many different things, topics, people, situations, jobs. You're tied in. And for example, sometimes people just wake up because their job is the only, and this isn't a bad thing, but some people just wake up just because their job tells them to wake up and they got to go to work. So that's part of it. It's not necessarily quitting, though. It's not necessarily like, oh, I realize this, let me just not do anything. That's not necessarily the movement after that realization, right? I mean, you can intentionally set time with yourself too, and still your movement and become still, so that you can gain understanding on your emotion. But if you're not in touch with your body, and again, you're just moved by the forces around you, you're reacting to things. That isn't a response, that is a reaction. You wake up because, again, you're reacting to your job making you do that very thing. Yeah, that's a neutral statement, because maybe you do like your job, maybe you do enjoy what you do, and you enjoy showing up like that. And in that instance, it's a choice, and you're not responding. You're not reacting. You're responding to something that is beyond just you. So that is part of, like, a deeper understanding, is that you come from nothing, and you're going to go back to nothing. And for you to think again that you are doing things out of your own will without first knowing this, then, like, it's controlled. What most people will find out about the world is that it is controlled. Perception, is controlled, the way that people or things present themselves is controlled speech. Like they're given a script and then they just read off the script, which is, again, for some people it's good, for some people it isn't. I'm the kind of person, I don't like going off a script. There's no script here. Just in the mode, no script here. Just in the moment kind of thing, and just saying stuff that I resonate with. I mean, shoot, I wish I could have a script right here, but no, I don't even wish that, to be honest. Be careful what you wish for. But I'm thinking though, like, even would it be interesting though is that, like, imagine an AI can feed you a script as you are talking and it's formulating your thoughts, right? That'd be interesting use of technology there. People just on live streams and then they're like some Black Mirror stuff, where you're just imagine being a live streamer and then, like, you have a separate screen where it's like as you're talking, the AI is so smart that, like, it's like feeding you stuff to say, like 20 lines at 20 lines ahead too. And then all you have to do is just sit back, say a few words, and then it just takes over. Imagine that. That's a dystopian world. Imagine that's dystopian as heck. Like, if people actually wanted, like, because again, I see in the general landscape of live streaming, like, I mean, everyone's trying to make it. Like, I think like a lot of people will hop on a live stream, and it's good to promote a business. It's good to. I'm telling you, like, a year ago, this wasn't really a big thing, but now, like, is everybody's trying to live stream, and, like, it's very. I mean, cool. I mean, it's like whatever. Like, people on a live stream, and even I'm live streaming. Cause I mean, but I don't, like, have any thoughts to it where I'm like trying to compete or anything. I just think I've always had a platform, and, like, I don't know, I just talk. And if people want to talk too, you know, let's talk about spirituality. So that's a that's the name of the game, right? It's just let's talk. Like, what's up? But you can meet random people on a live stream. Like, you never know who you'll meet. You'll never know, like, the random people will show up. And so far I've met pretty. I mean, there's very cool people that tune in and comment, and I mean, it's cool. I mean, but it's interesting though, because like, I I also do like doing live stream, but, like, it's kind of like you don't want to get calcified into the talking head kind of format. Like, the moment that you're just all talk and on a live stream, like, it's not very fun or engaging. So, I mean, and usually, I mean, my podcast is talking about spirituality, and it's one of those things too. Like, if I'm not growing too, if I'm not, like, growing as an individual, it's like I'm just gonna be behind the scenes and just do my thing. Like, that's why I'm not, like, at the moment, at least I'm not. Well, I've been doing it every day, kind of live streaming, but for the most part, it's like I wouldn't want to live stream if I'm not growing. 'Cause what's the point? If I'm like, if because if I grow, like, I think also other people can also tune in, and I mean, I just think it's better when you're in a good spot too, and you take care of your business, and then it's like, oh yeah, let me live stream. And but some people too make it their own entire identity, and they have their own brand and their own style. But I also use it too, like, on the live stream to help help me, like, with my speech. It's very good to talk to people, and having that pressure too where people are watching, is something else. I don't feel the pressure, but I know initially though there was pressure, And right now it's not that much pressure because of let's be real, like right now like low viewers, and I mean, I ain't tripping about that because once a lot of people come on, it's like like a lot of comments, you got to filter through them. A lot of people that are haters or things like that, negativity can arise. And if you haven't dealt with the negative in yourself, then it's like it stings sometimes when people are commenting negative. But I'm in a headspace where I really don't care about the negative of different things. So that's don't be like, and I think that's also what you know no one cares that you live stream. Let's just be real. Like no one cares. You gotta actually be somebody and be something for people to care. And I mean, people are finding reasons to care about certain things. And I personally you know, I actually believe in doing the work on yourself. And I'm not perfect, but like I think small changes each day that you can do to make yourself better is important. And that if you're actually doing something, because I am doing something which is live streaming, but then I'm talking, and like you want to get into doing stuff that is smart, and part of the topic of the live stream, which is let's talk about spirituality. Again, it's like when people have questions around this kind of meaningful subject, because spirituality does really shape our life, and having conversations about that is interesting, and it's life changing. Sometimes, like in a lot of instances, it's life changing when you're able to talk about the things of the spirit in a way that is it's open. It's not like going to um yeah, it doesn't hurt to talk about these and have these tough conversations about existence, about life, in a way that's real. So again, and part of the spiritual walk is perception. It's not, to me, I don't see it in a new age way where it's like let's jump into the by new like it's about perception and pure observation and knowing, connecting to your inner knowing. So when you have a connection to inner knowing, when you perceive a topic, or if you perceive a certain thing, you kind of know the information that is coming through based off of impression and based off of direct experience and understanding. So I think that's at its purest form spirituality. Before you even talk about like people get into crystals, people get into meditation, people get into different books, you know, but if you don't have perception, how are you going to even know that that's the correct book to read even? How are you going to know that if you don't have any perception and you're just blindly reading this because your emotions are involved in like a genuine pursuit of the truth? And if it's just your emotion without the intellect, then can lead to disaster, can lead to many different things, either that you know about or that you're about to find out. So that's part of it. I mean, like, that's why That's why it's important to know where you stand, know where you're at, if you will, know where you're at. That has layers to it. Like, know where you're at, but also know where you're at. That's layers. That's layers, as they say. So, I mean, most people see things at a one layer. How are you going to build something if you don't understand that things are layered? Things always consist of layers. But we don't think about it because it'll be too much. It'll be too much for us sometimes. Like, for example, like this company right here, they have layers to them. Just common sense. There's a whole team behind the technology. On top of that team, if you go even deeper, it's like, okay, that team, they have to know about the circuitry. They have to know about how to piece together audio equipment. They have to know about many different subjects. What's the correct gateway to open up for this thing to pass through? Noise gates, all that kind of stuff. So there's different layers within different things, and you're like, but we always think about getting the right thing, right? And so knowing stuff helps you decipher what is, or it's discernment, right? So if you're a knower, you can discern. You can discern what is true and what isn't. And when you can discern, that's a superpower. Think of that. If you can discern, to me, it's a superpower. Because you don't got to be involved in stuff that you shouldn't be. Like, I think that's part of it. It's part of the process. Can you know what's directly in front of you without being attached? That is a difficult task. I also see it too, like in terms of the male and female dynamic too. So, as a man, can you see the woman for who she is without being attached? Just letting her be in her natural feminine state, you know? So, as a man, you're more detached and laid back, whereas the woman is more engaged with her feeling, how she feels about you, the mystery of you, things like that. So I'm always so it's in male female dynamics, it's in business, it's in whatever. They may say part of that too is having strong pull-out game, right? You got to be able to pull away when it's necessary and not be in something too long. Because when you're in something when you're in something too long, it's like you might burst something that's not what you want, right? So that goes in relationships and the male female dynamic. It also goes into different scenarios in life. Sexuality is a big thing and kind of shapes, it's not disconnected to how you move and the laws of motion. So, sex isn't a bad thing, but if you understand your sexuality, though, it can explain a lot of stuff. It can explain a lot of things that go on in your life when you understand your sexuality, too. Because sexuality brings about it brings about creation, brings about life, the life of a baby. Or if you're not sexual, like if you're sexually absent in a way that is disconnected, I mean, that's called dissociation, first off. And then there's also um, you are um, not able to put yourself into something with the right amount of force. Like so if you can see where you're at too, you know, in terms of your sexuality, it'll explain a lot. So let's I mean we could have more of the conversation too if people want to know more about that kind of understanding. But that's kind of a general basis of that. But explains a lot, explains a lot when you know yourself in that way, how you are. I mean, like it also goes into the realm of fantasy, right? Your sexuality is connected to your fantasy and your fantasy world. Like these are very deep subconscious things within yourself. So, you know, are you a person that feels a need? I totally forget how to mute that word S3X because you gotta keep it PG or clean because I think that word gets banned or gets a flag. Excuse me. But but yeah, it explains a lot. So you can be sloppy with yourself or you can be clean. Up to you. No judgment. But if you have a lot of that energy, that means you're probably a very high achiever if you have a lot of S3X energy. Probably means that you have a lot of drive in something. But what happens if you suppress it? What happens when you suppress that nature? Well, there goes your drive, there goes your ambition, there goes your ability to imagine and fantasize about things. Which fantasies you don't want to be stuck in. You want to be in reality. So it's kind of like it's part of the work. I think if you're more apps if you're truly, because some people say, "Oh, I'm celibate," you know, but they'll still have thoughts in their head and natural. I think that if you're someone that generally spends time around people, you'll understand that sometimes they rub off on you. And if someone thinks you're attractive or cute, or if they think you have a certain thing to you that's desirable, that's a little bit of the desiring power within yourself being stimulated. And someone else also desires that and to be in that because it makes them feel safe, it makes them feel comfortable. So desire is a very strong thing. I mean, it can lead to fantasies, it can lead to different actions that you take. Desire is very intense and a very intense emotion, and it can be tied into your um, S3X nature. So when you're able to understand the level of where you're at in terms of your own S3X, or I'll just say the word sexuality, when you understand that, because that's the starting point for everybody. Let's start like if people want to disconnect from their sexuality and they want to be spiritual, it doesn't work like that. Like I think that doesn't work like that. You have to have that. You have to have the conversation with yourself, like who are you, and where have you been, right? Where have you been? So where have you where have you been? And I mean, because you get taxed. I think there's taxes out there. You spend some of your sexual energy onto something again, and then what that means is is your desire to want something, right? Your desire to want something is tied into your sexuality. So the deeper you want something shows that you have a stronger sexual nature, and it can be put into, like, you can literally use that power to people use that power to obtain things, whether it be, again, someone of the opposite gender, or it could be like whatever goals you want to achieve or whatever ambitions that you have. And so, again, you can't avoid that. Like, people want to avoid sexuality when it comes to spirituality, but you can't. I mean, show me somebody that can, and I'll show me somebody that can, and great, like, can change my mind on that, 100%. But if you're gonna sit there and avoid yourself on that level, then, like, you're not gonna make any progress. You're not gonna get anything out of life. I mean, might as well. But then I also mentioned earlier that people also will call themselves celibate, but it means they're just suppressing, or they're holding on to, like, it's like they're about to burst. Like, in your nature, if you even try to hold on to your energy sexually, and but you still have the thoughts around it, and all you can think about is that very thing, you're suppressing something, you're hiding something, right? You got to face it. You got to face it. And you don't want to be the person that hides. You want to be able to face something. So don't go around, like, I mean, that's just it, really. I mean, but it's part of it is being still and being able to resist. I mean, if you're really celibate, like, you're gonna be you have to learn inner stillness, and you have to learn how to, like, smoothen out some of those, you know, you have to learn how to smoothen out yourself. And when you're smoothing out a lot of your edges, it deepens you as a person. So, but I think people will see, sexuality in the sense of, like, oh, it's good or it's bad. It is it is important to state too, though, that, like, it's like you have to do something with it is the main thing. And it's not a matter of good or bad. It's more of a matter of the energy and the charge that comes with it, and what you do with that energy and that charge, is important. You can do anything with it. You can do anything with that, with it's your life force is embedded in your sexual nature. Your life force is in that. If you don't feel that, and if you don't sense it, then, like, usually, again, probably have bodily tension, you know, probably have different tensions in the body that are neurotic, and neurosis is a real thing. Neurosis, when you're holding on to different emotions in your body that lead to awkwardness or social anxiety, can, it can it can, it leads to weirdness, it leads to, like, insecurities that, and the opposite gender that you're attracted to can feel it. It's like, hold up, like, why is this person so weird? It's because they engage their sexual nature in a way that's, like, unhealthy. And on top of that, like, they hold on to stuff, and, like, very weird about, like, how they feel on the inside. And, like, if you're weird about how you feel on the inside, it's quite self-evident. It's quite self-evident to the opposite gender, because when you connect on that level, it's like, they feel it, and you can't go as deep with that person as you would imagine, because of the restrictions that are within you. And also, like, again, like, you got to choose wisely, right? who you engage with. Um, Being loose, is some people resort to that, and in different traditions spiritually, like the center is engaged in different ways in terms of tantric stuff, or like in the Christian faith, you know, fornication is completely disallowed because of the effect it has on the body. So the whole thing that we can at least take, you know, me personally, I'm a believer, and when you engage it, obviously we know it's wrong. But even if you're not one, right, the thing that you can still take away from this is that, like, when you engage that center, you're changing stuff. You are changing stuff. And some people use it to manifest more things, right? They use it to, because it's a very deep thing when you're engaged with your sexuality. It's a very deep thing. Most people will say, "Oh no, it's nothing," but if you want to have good S3X, like, you have to go deep and you have to push harder and all that kind of stuff. And you're, I mean, like, if you can't go deep, like, you last only 30 seconds or a few seconds. So, I mean, like, but if you can go deep, it's like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. It goes on. And again, like, it's sensation, right? So even when you engage your centers like that, and on the level of your sexuality, like, if you engage that center, it's like you're dealing with the sensation that you feel in your body. So how do you process sensations when they come in? That's another way that you engage like, engaging that center means that you're in touch with how sensation comes into your body. So again, and let me make clear too that sexuality is also your ability to create. It's your ability to make something from nothing. So, I mean, that's the whole process of making a baby, right? Like, it's just straightforward where you and someone else meet, just random. You guys spark, there's a spark there. You engage, and you're making a child from what we would consider an unknown space. Like, where does this child come from? I mean, it's a mystery, right? It's in a space of nothingness sometimes, how these things come about from even your manifestations, right? So, I don't know. I just feel like it's a topic that, again, like, I don't know how people can be spiritual and not talk about their sexuality in a way that's like, I mean, just not, you can't dodge the subject. When you start dodging the subject, um, you get like a weird, there's a weird vibe to the person when you dodge, when you're not able to handle that subject, or at least talk about it with someone. And obviously, like, I don't come on here trying to talk about like encounters or who I've engaged with, because like, who does that, right? We have Batman that just joined. He said TS tough. I like Batman, by the way. Batman's cool. Um uh I've been listening to there's a maybe I'll show you, flip around my screen, but I don't know if you listen to Yeet. Yeet's tough, by the way. But he has there's like this one video that it was a very cool video loop. Um and had like Batman from the cartoon, and it's pretty cool. Maybe I'll play it on the live stream on YouTube, the video. But so let me see. I'll share my screen real quick. But it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool loop, I think. if I can even find it, but I've been watching some of this underground stuff, or these like editors that are like some of these video editors that are uh pretty good at looping stuff. I enjoy that. I enjoy that stuff right there. When you're able to loop things in a way that's quick. Um, let me see. See, we have detected inactivity. That's crazy. But yeah, I'm about to share right now. Let me see. It's a funny. I like this loop. I don't know. I don't know which Batman series this is, by the way. Let me see. All right, let me share my screen. Batman. It's funny. I think Batman. I mean, honestly, I think the world needs more people like Batman. It's gonna sound crazy, but I think there's some Batmans that are needed. Things are crazy. Some Batmans. The background. I think it's cool. Let me see the loop right there, but you got the robbers right there. You got the robbers in the spotlight. And you got the bells. You got the thieves. I think it's pretty cool. And you got the Batmobile.
I need my drugs.
I think it's just a dope entrance or something.
Bitches pulling up in
The Batmobile. What do you think of this version of the Batmobile? I think it's cool.
I'm fuck with nobody, little bitch. I show you none. I ain't trusting nobody, little bitch. I keep a gun. If a problem come up, you know I'm not gon' run. Better somebody us, cause we blood like a bomb. Roll them like a 50, yeah, they smoke them like a bomb. Just can't erect.
Yeah, I like that song too. And I personally I'll listen to my music slowed and reverb. Sometimes sometimes I like the music slowed. But popping, we're popping. Popping. It's one of the artists I listen to sometimes is Yeet. I mean, very good engineering, very good goes very in depth with engineering. I mean, like very solid. Like I don't think you can very solid and very heavy hitting. And the bells go cool, or they go insane, like the bell. I mean, a lot you can do with a bell, right? You can repel evil spirits. With a bell you can repel evil spirits or create a certain frequency that's elevated. Or I mean, you can create a notification, right? So that's the bell. You know, always gotta ring a bell. Ring a bell. Or when you're at the customer service counter, just ding. It gets people's attention when you play the bell. I mean, I can see why Yeet does that. Rings the bell. So it's I remember too, like around Catholic churches, there's this one Catholic church or something that they would play a bell at every hour. They stopped doing it though, but like it was so cool to hear the bell every single hour. And again, I think that it does do something like collectively with the people that are there. Like I think it does lift the spirits of people when a Catholic church is able to ring a bell every single hour when it happens, or at least like whatever time schedule they have. But just to hear the bell go off, it did something for sure, at least to my mind. Like the bell, you know, uh does something, has an effect on the mind. So always got to tune into the bell. Many different bell effects you can do too. Is like there's heavy bells. That there's more of a lighter frequency. There's the middle tone ones. And you can also, I mean, with music making software, you can change the amount of reverb that's coming from it, as well as like how hard you want the bell the bell to sound. How hard you want it to be, or how soft and delicate you can make it. So a lot of flexibility with a bell. Always gotta ring the bell. So I haven't found the I know some of the software I have right now. I haven't found the correct bell that I like, or at least the correct path, the correct editing path to get the right sound out of the bells that are present. But you know, yeah, bells are important. I think they should implement that back into society. I don't know what you think, but imagine the churches ringing the bell every 2 hours, every 3 hours. That would change a lot. Or the village, or the village. Don't live in the city, at least the village, right? Hopefully, the village can play the bell every single few hours or so. The bell. So yeah, you got to always tune into the bell, like because what it does is centers you too. It like centers you when you're able to hear that kind of bell, like hear that clear and pure sound. And the heaviness of the bell is important. You know, you say you're the real art. You're the real art. I think God made you an art piece. You know, I mean, shoot, everybody's a piece of art, right? Everyone's gonna be everyone's designed in a certain way. So there's different elements to you, right? That's what art is, combining different elements. So yeah, what kind of elements you got, huh? What kind of elements do you think make up your being? Do you have quick wits? Do you have sharp intellect and deep knowing, or are you someone that engages life in a way that's different from other people? You know, because I can't walk your path for you. I can't do that. I wish I could, but I can't. Not even if I wish I could, but like no one can walk your path. 'Cause, I mean, even me. Like I gotta walk my own path and create my own path, and so do you. So why would I waste my time trying to copy you when you're the artiste? You're the one that creates the piece, and you see something different than what I do. Or shoot, we might be similar. We might be similar souls. I don't know. We might make things kind of similar, so we don't have to try to copy each other. We just do it naturally. Naturally, is a term. So you're like motivational. It's a it goes deeper than motivation. I think is drive. Is drive. At this point, at this point, I don't think I'm motivated. I think at this point I'm driven. But I mean, we'll see, right? Hard to live off of motivation nowadays. I wish I could live off of motivation, but I gotta be driven. Gotta be focused. Because I think in life you can't live off of hope. In the sense, like hope will get you motivated. Hope will get you to a certain extent somewhere, but then you gotta drive it forward. Like even on the days you don't feel like doing something, you got to drive it forward and become the change. See, there's one place in life where you're hoping for change and you're wishing that someone will do something for you. But sometimes you got to be the person that's like fine. You know that one meme, like fine, I'll do it myself. I mean, I just feel like that's just how things are. Just fine. I'll just do it myself. And then you do it, you know, no question asked. Just do it. And that's drive. You don't go based off what you feel, you go based off of the deeper part of yourself that's wanting to see whatever you want manifested. So, driven is the term. So, when you engage, I mean, again, I think drive is connected to also your sexuality. It goes back to that topic because think of it too, right? Like you're always going to have the urges there in terms of your nature, you know. So the urges of your sexuality is always there. Like how are you going to avoid that? You can't. So in the same way, like I think when you're driven about something, it's like you can't avoid the fact that you have something in you that wants to come out and it always wants to be expressed in the sense of like, oh, you have a certain goal you want to hit, certain thing you want to accomplish, and if you understand that it takes drive to do it, so that means you'll do anything it takes to do that very thing. No excuses. I mean, a lot of people do a lot to gain sex. I mean, sex is a term, right? People do a lot to obtain that. I mean, I've done it before. Like, you do anything to get that very thing. But, it's misused when you're engaging it for the wrong person or the wrong thing. But drive comes from like, you'll do anything to get it. So, as a man, obviously, it's like you need to put that into your purpose, into your mission. Nothing should stop you. So, you should be able to engage yourself with a certain level of drive that's unstoppable. Like nothing should be able to stop you. If something is stopping you, that's you got to look into that. Like what is that? Like how is this thing stopping you? Because quite frankly, if you are who you say you are and you are who you think you are, you should be able to bend that very thing or at least move it out of your way. And if you're not able to, then you're probably looking at the wrong direction. You're moving in the wrong direction, thinking the wrong way, feeling the wrong way about things. Things are twisted, right? As they say, things get twisted. And when things get twisted, hard to move forward, hard to have drive. I mean, it's just common sense. You got to be able to engage your drive and like your thinking should be up here, not down here. Although I don't blame you for doing it, right? I don't blame you for thinking down there, but you got to think up here and push the energy up here. So when you're able to push the energy up here in your head, that's how you get smarter. That's how you get more driven. That's how you become unstoppable when you're able to push up here and not stay down here. Gotta be, that's part of drive. again, so also if you're thinking, so the quality of you as a person also depends on you doing that. Like you being able to push your energy up here. If you're always down here and you're scattering yourself across down here and across, lower quality. But if you're able to move your energy up and think from up here, your energy becomes more finer. Your energy becomes more smoother, sharper, engaged. So, that's Dylan says spitting facts. Welcome, Dylan. And you hope everything's good with you. You know, are you just tuning in, or what's up with you? We're talking about all kinds of stuff here. I mean, spirituality is a broad topic. I don't know where you come from. You said just tuning in. Oh, great, great. We're talking about spirituality, and I'm also going on tangents about different things too. So that's kind of where we're at here. But do you have any beliefs around spirituality? Are you very strong, leaning towards something? Are you just kind of open as a person about whatever? Tell me a little bit about how you perceive, things. So, yeah, tell me a little bit about that. So, but yeah, we've been being focused on that subject of being able to move your forces up into your also headspace area, to generate a deeper sense of understanding, as well as a deeper sense of knowing and knowledge. Because sometimes our energies can get stuck in our body and be at a baseline, like lower level. But I think at least for me personally, like my perception goes into like I see things in terms of energy. I see things in terms of frequency and vibration. So there's certain stimuli that enters the body, or there's certain things externally that will enter into you, and you have to be able to process it in the correct manner in order to reach either the next stage in life or to, come to a conclusion about something, etc. But yeah, let me know about your perception. Love to hear it. Good to have you on, as they say. Good to have you on. So, um, but yeah, engagement is key, right? Though, like if you're able to engage something, you can get more out of it. But you have to engage it in the correct way, right? And I'm saying this very broad because it does apply to many things. It doesn't just apply to, like, it applies to your work, it applies to your relationship, it applies to, I mean, making art, like applies to many things. So that's why I say it in a very broad context. So if you're like, what is he talking about? I'm talking about everything. Talking about everything with just a statement. So I hope it's understandable. I hope I'm not overwhelming in the sense of like you have no clue what I'm talking about, but I think you should be able to understand that. I think I mean if you're saying spinning facts, I think you have a decent understanding of stuff. Um you say I have to get that boy to bed. God bless, brother. Oh yeah, have a good night. I haven't seen it's the first comment, man, but yeah, no. I'm glad you tuned in though here. You know, hug hug damn munch. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Of course, yeah, take care of the boy. But God bless you too. Blessed. Blessed is always gotta stay blessed, man. Rid ourselves of the curses, right? And bring in the blessings. The curses are real. The curses are real, and for some reason people like to send them. You just gotta hopefully your boy also gets a good rest. People be saying that stuff all the time. Just gotta, you know, get them out of here. Get them out of here. We don't like those curses. We only like the blessings. So yeah, man. Good night. Or if you want to stay engaged, and all up to you, man. Good night, though. But it's a real thing, though. People will be sending curses all the time. People will be sending curses all the time, and you just gotta defend yourself. You gotta know how to defend yourself. You gotta know yourself. So I'm thinking like, that also brings us, something came to mind too, even when you talk about going to sleep too. Because what you take in your sleep also brings in a new perception. If you're able to see sleep as a doorway, it changes your perception, because sleep is a doorway into something. That, I think, if you don't see sleep as an opportunity or as a doorway, you're wasting your sleep. Very strong statement. But if you have an opinion on that, like, for sure, share that in the comments down below. But I strongly think that if you don't see sleep as a doorway or as an opportunity, you're wasting it. Like, sleep should be an opportunity. When you go to sleep at night, it should be an opportunity for either a complete total reset and a new experience in the morning, or it should be a doorway or an opportunity to enter into a new experience. Or you can go into the dream world and extract information and data from the dream world that you wouldn't normally be able to extract in your normal conscious and waking state. So sleep is a perfect opportunity. Again, either for reset or for insight and knowledge. Amazing things can happen from your sleep at night. If nothing's happening, if nothing's happening, right? You're going to sleep, you don't get any dreams or anything, and you wake up and everything's everything's the same. I would say not everything's the same. Something could be off there. You're not able to wake up with, like, if you slept at night and you didn't get, like, you're not refreshed, you're probably not sleeping right. If it's still the same, there's something, like, something's just flat or something stagnant. Because sleep is very defining. Sleep is very defining. So how your quality of sleep matters. Your beauty rest, right? Your beauty rest. So what makes you beautiful? Your sleep makes you beautiful, So if you ain't sleeping right, like, something's off. You got to study that. This whole life, I think life's all about study, right? If you don't even have an interest in yourself too, you're not interested in studying yourself, like, why aren't you getting right sleep? Like that's also, just my own opinion. I think that's also something off. Like, you should be interested in yourself, right? I'm not just talking to myself here. Like, you should be interested in yourself. Like, you're a human being that has emotions and feelings and that are complex, and you're trying to know and understand yourself. Like, shouldn't you be more interested in yourself than, like, other things? Like, I'm not saying be narcissistic or self-centered, but, like, wouldn't you want to at least, the term is, study yourself? Like, I don't know. That's my opinion, right? Just my opinion. So it's important, though, to know how sleep is affecting your life, because that's 8 hours right there. It's 8 hours, or maybe even less. I don't know your sleep schedule, But there's different sleep patterns too, right? People will tap into different sleep rhythms and patterns to get lucid dreaming is one of them. You can regulate your sleep patterns in a way that produces the effect of lucid dreams in your mind. So if you're able to if you're able to engage that side of life correctly, you'll get more out of life. I mean, shoot, that sounds like, I mean, sign me up for that, right? Sign me up for that. I'd love to get more out of life. I mean, so paying attention is important. Paying attention is very important. And I'd love to sign up for that. I mean, I think I already have signed up for that. And I hope you have too. And let me know also, like, how is your sleep? I mean, honestly, like, if people want to comment, if they have any insight on their sleep, on their dreams, different things like that, leave a comment down below. Love to hear the insight. So, I mean, but again, like, going into the sleeping patterns thing, I've heard different things where people will, for example, for lucid dreaming, some people will set like a 4-hour sleep schedule, wake up in the middle of the night, stay up for like 30 minutes, and then go to sleep again because this will activate a certain region in the brain that's responsible for REM or something like that. These kind of sleeping patterns will open up the doorway of a deeper lucidity that exists within you, because the term is, okay, lucid dreaming, but the term is also lucidity, your ability to be lucid in a waking moment. And your ability to be lucid in a waking moment is very defining. Very defining. So when you are able to operate with lucidity and with conscious awareness, I'll say conscious awareness, but it means lucidity, right? Your ability to notice how things are constantly shifting and changing within your reality, and things are being birthed and dying at the same time. Your ability to perceive that and move and operate and navigate that is very important. Very important. And if you don't see that, if things are always dead around you, if things are always like life sucks, everything's the same, things are always dead around you, you're asleep. You got to wake up. Someone's got to tell you to wake up. But what does it mean to wake up, right? What does it mean to exit this sleep? Well, there's a sincerity and there's a deep longing to know the truth. That's how you wake up, is knowing the truth. But where does the truth start and where does it end? That's a very deep thing. And so, I mean, obviously, truth starts, you know, was layers to this, right? Obviously, we can say this in very generic terms, like truth starts at God. God is the truth. Jesus is the truth. So, yes, that is true. But layers, right? Layers of things. So, if you understand the layers of things, and those statements are as much as those statements are true, there's, if you don't understand the depth of it and the structure of it, then they don't, I mean, honestly, dare I say, they mean something, but like not at the level that you see it. Because what matters most is that when you say that, right? If I say Jesus is a truth in front of your face, but you may not care, like, what does that have to do with anything with you? Right? So then this is where deep understanding and explanation has to come in. So where does it start? Well, it starts with your direct experience, the truth. Because it starts with you. You're important in a way. Not in the way that you think, but you're important. And so it's like, okay, so you start with your direct experience. and then you start with what's going on within you. Who am I? I don't know who I am. How can I know who I am? And so most people don't even have a deep feeling or sensation of who they are. Because what matters most in the midst of this process, like I said, things are constantly dying and being rebirthed. Things are being created and things are being destroyed. So there's so much randomness and craziness going on. That doesn't matter. What matters is, who are you when this is happening? Things are always going to be changing. Who are you when those changes are happening? You may see that you're nobody. That you're getting closer to something. Okay, you realize that in the midst of this change, in this midst of all the wildness going on, okay, I'm nothing. I really am nothing. And then once you start realizing that, then a certain feeling starts to arise, right? When you realize that when you empty yourself of yourself, you can start to have feeling and sensation and depth to yourself. Because if you don't understand that you're nothing, you don't open up space for something new to come in. And when you don't have space for something new to come in, let's just say like this, I mean, you're stuffed. It's gluttony in a way. It's gluttonous in a way. That's a little bit around the sin of gluttony, right? When you overindulge in something to the point to where it makes you fat, it makes you overindulgent in a way that's like blinds you. So empty yourself, and become less gluttonous. And so when you get to that spot where you don't know who you are, you have feeling and you have inner sensation at a depth that is, it counteracts gluttony, right? Gluttony can manifest as like an actual, like, you eat a lot of food because you don't feel good. You don't feel good about yourself, so you eat because the feeling you get from food is very satisfactory, and it prevents you from feeling what you really feel deep on the inside, just for a moment. So when you empty yourself and maybe you do a fast, like, if you do something, you can do something in the physical and take a physical action, which would be fasting, like, for example, to counteract the force of gluttony that's happening within you, because you take in too many things at once. And if you're taking in too many things at once, too many impressions, like, you're feeling a lot of stuff from people. Life is consistently like happening. You don't know how to process it, and you take in too much. Makes you overwhelmed. And what happens with gluttonous people is that, on the physical level, you eat too much, you become lazy and stagnant. And also, in the realm of, like, what do you call it? On the physical or spiritual plane, you're taking in too much energy from people. You're taking too much, like, stimulus from entities, things like that, and you're overwhelmed. Like, you become stagnant and lazy because it's too much. You'd rather not experience these things, or you may overindulge in these things to the point of your own demise. You feel good so much that you are overindulgent. So depends, right? And you learn some of these things and principles, like I've learned them from, and I'm just continuing to learn and apply is a thing, right? You got to actually apply it, not just talk about it. And I'm in the application process, in the application process, right? But like, I learned a lot of the stuff from monks, seeing their humility and seeing their example of, like, oh yeah, no, I actually see in myself. Like, some of these monks will be like, oh yeah, I see how this thing's happening, or I see how I'm overindulgent. Why don't I go on a strict diet of bread to counteract that? Or some of these monks may struggle with lust, so they'll force themselves to overwork and to be deprived of either sleep, or be deprived. What was the other thing? They'll be sleep deprived, or they'll overwork themselves to the points to where they can't even act on their sexuality because they're so busy working, so busy, or they're deprived of sleep where they don't have energy, or even fasting might suppress a little bit of your sexual nature too. So different methods to overcome, different methods to become better, different methods. You got to learn which method is going to be the right stimulus for you to get a certain result. It's particular to you. So I think that you learn as you go. You learn as you go. And you got to study your weakness, right? Got to study your weakness. You got to study how you are in the situation that you are in right now. So right now, your life circumstance is a certain way. So if you look right now, you look at your direct experience, you're like, okay, I got this going on. This person has been saying this. They've been on this timing. Oh, and then I got my business running in the background. Oh, and then I got this coming up. Okay, so these are some possibilities. But who are you? Even though these things are happening externally, who are you though? Like, don't lose yourself in all of this. Like, who are you in position of all these things happening? Are you him? Like, are you someone that, okay, being more specific though, like, are you someone that people are looking to find help from? Are people actually looking at you and they're like, oh, that's so and so, and they're good at this, and I like how they do this. You know, it's like, who are you, right? Who are you? So, and but once you know that, like, you won't be moved off your center. So it doesn't matter what they're saying. It doesn't matter what's going on. If you know who you are and what you're about, you're gonna do what you need to do. You're gonna say what you need to say. Like, simple. And you're not gonna let people cross you. Um, and yeah, I think also, like, being able to, because relation is important. You're connected to something or someone, and don't be blind to that. Like, don't be blind to the fact that someone right now might be connected to you, because this is, again, I think there's a lot of cults in the world, whether you like it or not. People will right away blame like a church, a mosque, and they'll be like, oh, organized religion is so bad. This stuff is so bad. But don't you realize the entire world is a cult and technically an organized religion? Like, hello? That business, for like, businesses, everything, they're structured like cults, right? So there's initiation processes. When you join a business or something, and you join a whatever it could be, I'm not saying this in a negative sense, by the way, but when you join a group, you're part of a business, it's kind of like a cult. You have to be initiated into it. You got to pay the price, and then you got to go through the process, and you got to join yourself to someone and manifest something. That's what a church does. They're there to manifest the presence of God, or a mosque, they're there to pray and do their prayers and stuff. They join together, do the very task to manifest whatever will that is there. Aren't you doing that in business? Aren't you doing that in your relationships? Aren't you joining together, saying the words that you need to say, and then moving on in a certain direction? That's church. That's your relationships. Some people may counteract that, but it's like, I don't know, you're talking to your friend, aren't things going somewhere? You're dating somebody, aren't things going somewhere? Aren't you guys communicating and exchanging words and energies, and like, it's leading in a certain direction? Like, that's what a church, gym, anything. Like, if you go to a gym, like, the energy, depending on the gym you go to, but the energy levels can be high as heck. You go in, you go to the front desk, you show that you're part of the group, you show that you're valid, right? Show that you're valid, you got some ID, and you pay the price for the membership, right? and then you join up. Either you're solo in the gym or by proximity and by the energy of the people in that group. You know, you're like, solid point, brother. Choose your poison. Yeah, man. Choose wisely, dude. Choose the poison wisely. Can't escape it. You gotta face it. You gotta face it. So I mean, that's why you gotta understand brotherhood, right? You gotta understand brotherhood or sisterhood or whatnot, and it's gotta be clean, right? It's gotta be clean. It's gotta be good, high quality. I mean, I don't know if, I mean, shoot, I wouldn't want to be a part of something that, I mean, things can be dirty under the surface, and but part of, at least in a church setting or in a religious setting, part of joining the group is actually getting clean, right? Because we recognize how dirty we can get from the world. Like, we'll catch something from outside, right? Something might enter into you, or you might, like, all of a sudden, like, life may happen. There's the level of, like, you may get desperate in life. Many people get desperate in life and end up doing things they don't want to do. So then they get dirty. And then a church may be a place where it's like they feel safe being able to confess how they've sinned, how they've made mistakes. It should be that way, but I mean, things are messed up. Talk about choose your poison. Blackmail's a real thing. Like, if you really think you are somebody and gonna be somebody, you would probably be very careful of who you confess to in terms of your sin, because people use accusing tongues love to feed off of past sin. You said the setting is a tool, it's what's within that counts. Exactly, too, right? um Interesting you say that, because the setting is a tool, but I think that on the level of your senses are engaged in life, right? I think you use your five senses to engage life, and that to disconnect from what your five senses are and what's flowing through them can be somewhat of a fallacy within some people, or like a bias that some people may have, where it's like, oh, like, nothing external matters, everything's internal. But I mean, there's dissociation a little bit in that, because as a manifester, as someone that's trying to create reality, I think engaging the five senses and understanding, like, setting, for example, right? Understanding setting is important. So, like, if I'm choosing to be in a setting intentionally to clear my perception, clear my five senses and what's kind of filtering through, like, that's the point of the setting, right? Going to a holy site to clear the perception, you know, is important, or knowing that that's the reason for that holy site. But if you're going there, you're just going through the motions. I mean, actually, again, I think proximity is important. Like, sometimes things can rub on you, like certain things can rub off on you, and I think animism is a belief in it's a certain philosophy where every living thing is kind of animated, has its own spirit. So even from the objects right in front of you, they have their own spirit, they have their own life to them. There's a certain energy or vibration that is stimulated in that very object. So then when we put this in the context of maybe business, church, whatever setting, the very objects in that building or setting has life to it, and it's not something you ignore. I mean, you can ignore things intentionally. That's what fasting is, right? The ritual of, because fasting is a ritual. So, like, if you're pulling back from the world and the what's happening in your five senses, that's what you call fasting. Fast from you are in this world but not of it. You're fasting from it. um so you do that intentionally, then you come back into the world. And then you come back to it and you see it in a new way. True essence to every object. Yeah, there's essence in every object, right? Essence is a very strong word if you understand it, right? Essence to things. There's Because with essence means I would follow up that word essence with extraction. So, what can you extract from that very object? So, from baseline minerals, right? You have different minerals, rocks, different things, and the rocks speak to you, right? Think of it. How do people even like look at a substance and think that they can make an entire invention out of it? Think of that. Like, how do people discover gold was usable in certain fields? There's essence to it. There's information in it that needs to be extracted. But how do you extract it? Well, again, part of it is like if you understand that things are living and there's constant communication, whether nonverbal or it's interesting. Even in the Bible, there's stories of objects being, um, like inanimate, inanimate, but they still spoke to certain people. So if you understand that, like objects will speak to you, right? And a modern example of this is you're going to the store, right? And you're wanting to choose your shirt. You want to choose your shirt. You're going to maybe a luxury store and you're looking at all the different options, but that very object speaks to you. There's a certain essence to it, a certain quality to it that's like drawing your eye and your attention. And you're like, nah, that one right there, that's it. So when you get that, then you obviously when you take the steps to buy it, this is where the extraction process begins. Okay, you're like, now I got this shirt. In what settings am I going to use this shirt? In what scenarios am I going to wear this? And because you're, in a sense, people are going to perceive you in a certain way when you wear that. Some people may not because they don't have judgment, but some people may do so. And some people, and it gets complex where it's like, oh, some people say they don't judge, but they do judge, yada, 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 like, but the point being is that there's a certain essence to that very shirt that you just bought, and it spoke to you in a way that was nonverbal. So, nonverbal communication, very, it's always there. It's always there. And if you open up that level of communication, be ready to hear and understand what's going to come your way. Essence, and then extraction. You buy that very thing. Okay, what do you get from it? What are you going to pull out of it? What are you going to pull out of that very thing? So, and this is also a get to know you question too, if you want to share, at least in this setting. Like, but what objects speak to you? Like, what are things that resonate? Like, what are you drawn towards? Like to learn a little bit more about you, man. So, what things are what things are what things are drawn? Are you drawn to? Yeah, because like there's so many different objects that are. I'm not attracted to every single thing out in the world. I'm not like, oh, I'm not like, give me all of it. There's only particular things that I find I'm attracted to and that have an essence, and it matches my own essence, so there's a match, right? A match made in heaven. Oh, you like, yeah, food. Oh, food. Now, yeah. But are you like attracted to the side of food where like like the taste wise food? Food, yeah. Oh yeah. But like certain people, right? Let's talk about Anthony Bourdain. What's his name? Anthony Bourdain. That one. Sorry, bro. I'm drawn to food. Sorry. Oh yeah. I think everybody is. I am too. But in particular, though, people have had reality shows based off of food. My weakness. My weakness. I wouldn't. For me, I wouldn't. Okay, at that level, then I wouldn't feel that as a weakness of mine. But I like food though. I enjoy food. But it seems like you're passionate about it. But what's that guy's name? Anthony Bourdain or something? This dude would like travel. Maybe you could share a little bit of this on. But he had his own show about food, right? He traveled different countries. People follow him with a camera. Anthony Bourdain, I think. And I mean, shoot, he traveled around, had his own documentary, spent time with different cultures because he loved food so much, and he loved the variety and different flavors of food. So like, so let's see, you like the flavor and sense of smell and colors. Yeah, that's very specific. Yeah, SoCal and nice to shared. You mean like Southern California? 'Cause I know a little bit about Southern California. Um, about SoCal and nice to shared, but flavors I mean that's very specific, right? You're talking now about the different flavors of food, senses. I mean, you're getting to the smell and colors, right? For me, I'm more like only very strong smells stand out to me. I don't really care about the colors in the sense of like, I mean, you're very passionate about it, and like, it's not the first thing that I mentioned that like I know about food. I more gravitate towards the flavor and like the yeah, that's mainly the main thing. So, but it seems like you got three different things like that stand out to you, which is obviously depth of it, and like you like the culture and beauty in food. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which culture do you think which culture do you like the most? Like what culture does it the best for you? Because also like when it comes to culture too, it's like there's hospitality behind the culture, right? It's like these certain groups of people behind it are serving you also in a certain way, right? You have the Japanese, they serve their food in different ways, like whereas America America will be America's fast food industry will just be like, yeah, just get your food, put the fries in the bag, hurry up with that. Like there's the America put the fries in the bag, if you know what I mean. Like hurry up, like let's get it over with. But like what culture do you find resonates with you and has a lot of beauty in it? Um, that's great, man. You yeah, because I mean it's something to pay attention to, something that's worth noting, something worth noting. How you get your food or who serves it to you, the history behind it. Um, because that food's going into your body, right? It's like it's becoming you in a way. And so no, curious, man, curious. Um, but yeah, like so all really, all really. All right, okay. What's one? Okay, to narrow it down though, like what's one that stood out to you? Like what's one food item that stood out to you in the past, this past weekend? You know, what's one food item that stood out to you? All have merits and down. Yeah, that's true. All of them have merits and downsides for sure. Um, but yeah, what's one food item that stood out to you this week? Um, because yeah, there's a lot of let me see. Yeah, yeah, there's a lot of foods out there that you can indulge in. I mean, yeah. Are you do you eat a lot too? Are you someone that like 3 meals a day, 4 meals a day, like over 3,000 calories kind of thing? And like what kind of I just because for me, like I'm telling, like I have a big appetite too. I can kind of see I'm skinny, but that doesn't mean like I can shoot. Okay. Yeah, I'm skinny, but doesn't mean I can like doesn't mean that I won't like eat as much as someone that's like bulky as heck. Like I can eat tons, scarf down a lot of food. It seems like you could too. It seems like you could too. They all have merits and downsides, you know. Yeah, food making me hungry. You making me hungry. But I think particularly though, most recently, um, I like foods that make me feel light. You know, I like foods that had amazing katsu chicken, katsu. Oh, chicken wrap with hummus. Oh man, solid choice right there. Solid choice, katsu. Oh man, you got Japanese, huh? And you got a little hummus. Like hummus is pepper. Oh, you put peppers and onions or garlic. Yeah, onions and garlic. Oh my god, I love peppers. You know, are you talking like red peppers or green peppers or what kind of peppers are you putting in? And does it have spice in it or are you just regular? You know, katsu though. I mean, we kind of mentioned Japanese, right? So we mentioned a little bit of Japan culture here. Shout out to Japan, right? Shout out to Japan if you're listening. Hogdan Munch loves your food. You know, he loves your katsu chicken wraps. So, but you know, the Asian food, man. Asians are very sharp. You know, even in the name, you know, katsu. You know, it's like very quick, very but sharp and gets the job done. You know, that's the essence behind the name, right? Both, bro. Oh, jalapenos too. Love love jalapenos with nachos. You know, I don't know if you do the jalapenos on nachos thing, but love jalapenos. Green and red chilies. Damn, damn. All right. You know, green and red chilies. You know, you gotta have both, right? You can't decide on one. You just gotta get both, right? You just gotta get both kinds of those. Gotta have both kinds of those chilies. You know, but that that's a mix of different stuff. You know, you got like Japan in there. See, what is hummus? I mean, hummus is Middle Eastern for sure. So you're over here mixing different things. And you got the jalapenos. What is that, Mexico? I don't know. Let's see. Hummus was a Middle East, Egypt. Let me see jalapenos. Let me Google it. You know. Yeah, Mexico. So, oh man, you got Mexico. You got Mexico on your plate. You got the Middle East on your plate, and you got Japan. I mean, shoot. I think you should Greek, Turkish. Yeah. I think, you know, with all the craziness going on in the world, I think you should make a world. You should. This is a good idea. I mean, might be $1 million idea right here because Mexican, North African. Yeah, man, got it all. This because here on Expanded Minds podcast, we talk $1 million ideas sometimes, but you know, $1 million idea right here. The world peace dish, where you find the right balance of all of these different cultures into one plate, and then you know you find the right blend and the right balance, and like you just you know end a world war maybe with your dish, end a world war or something, you know, with like everyone just ordering your food and just being like, damn, you know what, Africa or Mexico or Greece, you know, they're not so bad after all, because everyone's like trying to fight against each other. Who's fighting right now? Who's causing problems right now? You know, Russia and America are kind of going at it recently. So maybe like a Russian American dish, you know, bring some of the peace back into the food. You know, bring some of the peace back into the food. But I mean, who knows how actual like logistically though, how that can actually be put together. I mean, but are you a chef by chance, or are you someone that cooks? You cook your own food, or are you I mean, you just order? It seems like you would have your own stuff. I mean, you have all these chilies and jalapenos, but do you make your own food, or are you takeout? Are you ordering online, or uh, DoorDash or whatever? Saying this caused the shit, though they're supposed to. Yeah. Hey, but you could be the change, right? Maybe one man army right here. You're killing the Satanists with your food, man. It's like, no, I just love eating. All right, there you go. That's just it. Simple. Don't want to complicate it. Just give me the food, right? Actually, I mean, these kind of combinations too. Like, have you ever tried pizza with like kind of variety like this? The missus does a yeah, the missus does a cooking. She gets right to it. Takeout restaurants too. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Takeout restaurants. So was this a katsu wrap? Was I mean, was it homemade, or was it did you order a takeout? Did you order a takeout right there? But katsu, or there's one Japanese place called Kabuki, you know, another good name. Okay, you say, yeah, yeah. All right. He's- but yeah, there's a lot of different restaurants out there, different names, different, you know, all of it essence, right? Gotta be the real stuff. I love pizza too. Yeah, yeah, pizza's great, a good crust, like sometimes I like mine crispy. I mean, how do you like your pizza and your crust? You like a rising crust, or you like a high rise crust, or do you like a thin crust, like a kind of like a burnt crust? Rappel's a food fair in Victoria Park, London. Yeah, food fair. It's a good spot to explore your different options, with food. I could see you like just as soon as you step foot or see at least the first food truck or food stand or whatever that's there, or venue. I could see your face just lighting up, just like you hit the jackpot. I could see you. I could see you just lighting up on the inside. But no, like, how do you like your pizza though? Like, high rise or thin? They even have like gluten free and cauliflower crust. They have all that. They have all of the different options. I mean, fun fact: I used to work at a pizza place. I used to work at one. So, little fun fact. In between, thick crust on the edge, medium to. Oh, okay, that's specific order right here. We're talking specifics, man. We're talking specifics. All right, all right. Because I mean, some people are just like, all right, I'll just get whatever. All right, I like that. I like that. Thick crust with the edge, medium to thin in the middle. And yeah, it all depends on how you press the dough, right? Like getting the thickness and how much dough you have around the center, or around the outside. But at the pizza place I worked at, it was an automatic dough press machine. So you throw the dough on there. It was like it was pretty expensive equipment. So you just press the button and it'll press it out for you and fill in the ridges of the crust. So like it's always kind of like the same thing over and over. But then we also had certain ways like for the pizza, for example, we would there the gluten dough was different than the dough that was like just regular dough. You know, oh, wood oven. Oh, okay. Semolina dough. I don't know. Let me see how this one is. Semolina. I gotta look at a picture of this one. Semo. I don't even know if I'm saying it right. Semo. Maybe I'll share a picture of the semolina dough. It was like a hard wheat, high protein and gluten content. Okay, yeah. So it's gonna be, so it's a thick. Maybe that from the description, it seems like it would be a little dry in a way, but like thick and also rich in a way. You know, gluten free is best. Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. So the thing, like when I was, when I worked at that place, it was just like we would eat pizza. I would basically eat pizza every single day. Like, you know, I was indulging in that, man. Pizza every single day. I didn't get sick of it. A lot of people that work there, they're like getting sick of it. But I was like, fuck, like give me more. Like I'm like trying out different stuff, all the time. I'm just like, I'm grateful for that, grateful for that. And it's but I went from like getting the regular crust and the regular dough, but like notice, like if I was eating it every day, so over time you feel you get stuck, all the grease and everything too can build up. So having a healthy crust, like gluten free, perfect, right? It's very thin, and it doesn't drain you as much. It doesn't give you that after effect where you're like you feel all heavy and drained of your energy. Gluten free, like you say, I think is also best too. I started getting that all the time. I'm saying it's quite dry, but the mozzarella and meat fat adds the moisture. So is it more absorbent then? Like it absorbs all the oils and the different things that you put onto it. So would it be more of an absorbent thing, or is it just dry overall? Like it's not going to be um affected on any level. Like it's just gonna stay how it is, and then obviously, you kind of said it right here. The meat adds the moisture, but like, does it retain the moisture? Is kind of what I'm saying. Does the meat and the fats? Exactly, bro. No drain post pizza. Yeah, no drain. No drain. Post pizza. I like that. Post pizza. That's what I gotta start calling it. Post pizza. He said post pizza. The post pizza session. Yeah, you always got to keep your energy levels up. You can't let the pizza weigh you down. The pizza's got to give you a boost, not weigh you down. If it weighs you down, it's a problem. But there's also like cheesy bread with pizza. Oh man, game changer. Have you ever had Have you also ever had a pizza that's like you ever had cheesy bread that's you said it soaks in about halfway. Okay, that's something. So probably like the bottom and everything stays how it is. So I'm assuming then, does it get flimsy? Like, is this kind of crust? It's gluten free, and this crust is gluten free. Is it flimsy, or does it get flimsy when it absorbs the moisture, or does it stay like solid as a crust? Like it won't bend as quick. Like what kind of crust is it? Does it flimsy? Because you start adding all those toppings, man. Like that's gonna get flimsy, man. It might mess up your bite. It might mess up your it might mess up your intake. Last thing you want is like you have all those amazing toppings, and then you were about to eat it, and then just flops. You don't want your pizza to flop. I mean, I mean, if some people just don't care and just will take it. Just whatever. But if you like your pizza, you want things smooth. You don't want it to flop. But oh, knife and fork. Okay, the knife and fork method, two-handed technique. Yeah, two-handed technique. So it probably does flop. But I mean, hey, the knife and fork are being put to use. I'm usually I like the one-handed. I'm not gonna lie. Grab a pizza and then just one hand. You know, does get a bit flimsy. Yeah, gluten crusts usually get flimsy quick. They're very thin, or at least the ones that I've made, very thin. and it does get, yeah, yeah, they get very thin and very um. But do you like pesto on your crust? I would always put pesto on the gluten crust because I feel like that's necessary sometimes. Like if you put garlic pesto on your crust, it kind of takes away. I mean, I honestly did kind of like the gluten taste, the gluten free taste, because I like the idea of it being healthy and clean, which is, for at least for me, appealing. A crust that's gluten that is clean and feels healthy. Like, I don't care if it quote unquote tastes bad. I get used to it. But overall, though, I liked adding garlic pesto because it just spicing things. It just takes it to another level. That and then goat cheese, I think, with garlic pesto. I think those are key on a gluten crust. But do you also put a goat cheese on your pizza, or what's your favorite kind of cheese to put on a pizza? Like, love garlic and chili dip, love red or green pesto. Yeah, I haven't tried red pesto. Haven't tried red pesto, I'll tell you that. Have not. But hey, shoot, I gotta look into that. I gotta look into that. The red, the red pesto, man. You know, I've got to get familiar. Red pesto. What does that taste like? Let me see. Let me see. Red pesto. Oh, I mean, yeah, it's just oh, am I tripping? It's the normal. I don't know. It has a little bit of a. It's a different thing. Different kind of see pictures. But yeah, red pesto, man. It's more thicker. It looks like. That's interesting. Yeah, yeah. The red and greens, man. So your favorite mozzarella, like goat cheese, though? Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Feta cheese, I saw a lot. So working at that place, a lot of people would get obviously the mozzarella. The normal thing that people would get is mozzarella. People love actually feta cheese on their pizza, and obviously pepperoni is a common topping. And what was it? The bacon is another popular thing people love to put on. And what else is there? Yeah. Oh, we got Belted Radio. Belted Radio says, I imagine red pesto as a roasted red bell pepper and dried tomato with basil or oregano. Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. More yeah, more smoother too, probably. And basil or oregano, a little spice, spicing up your palate, spicing up your palate, as they say. Yeah, it's great. Tomato like. Yeah, yeah, tomato like. It says feta, lovely, clean cheese, great in a salad. Yeah, we had a salad which was interesting, where we used a sweet, what is it called? Balsamic. We used kind of like a sweet balsamic. It was like a berry kind of balsamic or something like that. So we had that, and the salad was like spring mix with feta cheese and then strawberries. Yeah, strawberries and then blueberries, you know? So there's a combination in that salad, which is like a sweet, but then you have like the feta cheese and like the salad. It's interesting taste. Yeah, I really like that salad. It's a very good. Creation is alluring and wonderful. We are blessed with sent. I know, right? I know it's wild. Food can. I mean, food just lights up different parts of your brain. I don't know if you ever tried this too. Let me know if you've tried this, belted, or I'll say Hogdan for short. Sweet balsamic, almost plum sauce. Yeah, plum sauce. Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But let me know, Belted or Hog Dan, like if you ever tried this, but like they have that tablet. I think you could purchase it on Amazon, but it'll turn like sour things into something sweet. Let me see what it's called. But that's another trippy experience. You talk about something being trippy, or like things being alluring and wonderful to your senses, like, or was this? It takes things that are bitter and makes them sweet, I think was the thing. But there's like a certain pill that you can buy, and then you just take it, and it's like for 30 minutes, everything that's kind of sour or bitter will taste sweet. So we're talking like lemons. We're talking like, trying to think what else. We mainly, it was in a classroom we had in high school, and it was like, the teacher gave us those tablets. He gave us the tablets, you know, and then he gave us lemons and stuff, and it was like, whoa, it tasted like it was another kind of experience. I'm like, how is this even possible that a certain tablet can like, and it's never tried it. It sounds dangerous. Trust me, it's not acid. It's not any of those. Let me see. Not any of those dangerous. It's just like a. I don't, let me see. What it's called. I mean, yeah, it's probably bad for your health. I'm assuming, if that's what you mean. But I don't think it'll kill you. It's sellable online. So I'm assuming if it's sellable online, like there's some kind of clearance on it. But obviously, it might be unhealthy, kind of like any kind of sugar or junk food. Let me see. Tablet that makes things taste sweet, I think. What was it called? Oh, it's called a miracle fruit. I think that's what it's called, miracle fruit. Yeah. Maybe I'll show you my screen. Yeah, super sour. Yeah, super sour tastes sweet. That's the method. Yeah, I like sweet and sour foods. Yeah, I'll show you on my screen real quick. It's kind of like what it is, right there, 17.99 USD. But yeah, it makes a super sour taste sweet. So you can eat those warheads. Like I'm telling you, if you eat a warhead, right, like one of those like very sour candies, and you already have the tablet in, it won't taste. It won't taste like that. You won't get that bitter like reaction to it. Like everything will be smoothened and sweetened out. Um, but they're called miracle. I think miracle berries. Yeah. Um, Pretty popular. Miracle berries. Yeah, on Amazon you can purchase them. They have this kind of stuff. Dump sugar, boost taste, natural fun, transform food. So there you go. There you have it. The miracle berry. Works miracles, right? So it's something else, man. Something else to try. You know, the guy looks like he's taking a dump. Yeah, looks like he's taking a dump. Yeah, that dude in the photo was going through it. Going through it. I mean, that was probably something he did right after. I'm assuming. He had to clean the pipes. It's like that sometimes. It's life. You're like, internet keeps shutting off. Sorry, no problem, no problem. Happens, happens. You know, Wi-Fi too. Wi-Fi plans can be sometimes expensive. Like to get a higher quality um, Wi-Fi that's gonna help you sustain a good connection. So I mean, like, it's like I don't know. These companies are their packages. Oh my god. Like packages are crazy. A guy looks like he's taking a. That's funny. No, but slow Wi-Fi is so frustrating though. Like it's like, oh my god. Only in Cali can the teacher drug you for science. And education. Yeah, they did. They drugged us. You know what's funny though? Actually, that wasn't like a science teacher. That was our. The guy was actually very cool. The guy was very cool, and he was our theology teacher. Actually, he was our theology teacher, and great guy. Everyone loved him, and it was just one of those fun things and experiments that were just like, yeah, that's all like a good. Let's all do it. Like, fuck it. Let's have the entire class was like happy about it, and I said, so it wasn't necessarily like, oh, okay, class, today we're gonna be um doing this for a grade or something. It was more of like, yeah, let's just have fun in the class. Let's try out this miracle stuff. And he was very like he tried it himself. He was like, yeah, I gotta tell everyone about this kind of thing, you know. But yeah, but that happens though in other scenarios. But yeah, no, he was excited to share his finding about the miracle berry. He was like, I found something so great. He's like, pull out the lemons and everything. It's like, yeah. So like, everyone loved him though. He was different. He was different from all the other teachers. He was someone that you would actually appreciate being in his class and not like be all bitter that maybe you failed a test or whatnot, or that you felt support, and that he would listen to you about things. So no, he was a good guy, So, but if it was another setting, I don't know. If it was another teacher that did it, I don't even think other teachers would do it, to be honest. Unless like yeah. So, but in Cali, they can do that kind of stuff. Guinea pigs out here. Guinea pigs. Guinea pigs. I mean, sometimes I think that's just how things are. Sometimes you're put in a situation where by either sometimes it's unknown or sometimes it's known, but you could be the guinea pig for someone. You could be the test experiment for somebody. Not a good feeling. In the sense of like, obviously if it's a bad test, right? It's like they got you trapped in some stuff. So that's a part of life, though. Part of life. So yeah, no, the food stuff. That's funny talking about food though, the different cultures and everything. Um, actually, so are you so Hogden? Are you immune to sour stuff? Are you someone that's immune to that kind of food? Like you won't get a reaction out of it. Like if I gave you right now, if I was like, hey, here's a warhead. It says extremely sour. And would you be like, oh yeah, that's nothing. Like give me that. Would that be nothing to you, or would you react and like would you look like that guy in that photo of the miracle berry? Would you end up looking like him? Let me know. Can you hold your ground with the sour stuff? Same thing with you, Belted. Can you handle the sour palates, of food? Are you are you gonna give a sour face? Are you gonna give a sour face, sour look on your face? Oh yeah, you can handle it. All right, can handle it. All right. You're like, that's nothing. That's nothing. Well, you put that in your cereal, huh? Put that in your cereal. So, hey, there's a Sour Patch Kids cereal. I don't know if you've tried it or not, but there's Sour Patch Kids cereal out there. So I mean, I actually don't know if it's sour. I can eat all sorts of all sorts. I can eat all sorts of all sorts. There's all sorts out there. Do you think it is proof how unreliable the senses are? That's interesting. Um, that's a good question, actually. Let's see. Do you think it is proof of how? I would say yes and no. Like, Like obviously being over, because the general thing with the senses is that you don't want to be too externalized, right? Where you're wrapped up in how do I say it? Like obviously there's a middle ground in it, like the senses are to be experienced. And it also depends on, I think also like your calling, like what you need to get somewhere, right? So like if food is distracting you from getting to the next level, and obviously this is a sense of smell, this is a sense of taste, this is a sense of sight sometimes too. If food is consistently trapping you and like you're not able to function without food, then obviously like you can always take steps to balance yourself out and like regain a little bit of some self-control. And like it's good to experience the other side as well, to know that you can be deprived of food and like you're going to be okay. Like I think finding the balance is important, but I don't think ignoring the senses is, so when you start to ignore some of the senses, like ignore food and decrease the amount of input you're getting from food, or decrease the amount of stimulus that you get from food, when you start to do that as an intentional thing, there's a lot of benefits from that. So if you see yourself being held back and you're going down, like you're losing yourself in this process, like I mean, I don't think that's healthy. But like, for example, Hogdan says he can handle the sour. That's actually a good exercise. Like, if you can take in the sour and not react to it, that shows that you're conscious on some level. So I think when we talk about the middle ground, like, um, yeah, it always depends on the setting and the goal in the moment. Exactly, right? So, so like for example, like if you're, and this is also the same thing with spicy food. Like if you're not able to, so spicy food, there's a whole philosophy around spicy food, right? So if you're able to eat spicy food and not react, it's going to cleanse you all the way. It's going to pour out, it's going to clear your sinuses. It's going to clear your entire body of things, different bacteria, all that kind of stuff. So when you're eating spicy food and like it's cleansing you, and if you can take it and handle it and show some self-control and not be all like oh my god, it's too spicy. Like if you can keep self-control when you're eating the spicy food, I mean that's another thing too. Like there's a level of self-control in there. So it's a, yeah, like he says, I think that's probably the best way to say it. Simply put, always depends on the setting and the goal in the moment. So I mean, thank you, Hogdan, for speaking for me. I mean, shoot, thank you. That's a better way to put it right there. Simple. It's simple right there. I had fajitas for breakfast in Mexico once. Ah, fajitas. Very good. Yeah, I've been to Israel before, and dude, when I went there, right? I mean, it's a very big culture shock. I mean, I know it's a sensitive subject right now, like the whole um, situation that's going on. What's actually interesting too is that even before, so when I went to Israel too, like, yeah, thank you, thank you. But even when I went to Israel, like, it's interesting because they gave us a tour, and then actually we had a sit down, and they're culturing us on like what's happening here, and actually on the whole conflict. Like we literally sat down, and the tour guy was like, "Oh yeah, this conflict's going on, blah blah blah," and I think everyone kind of didn't see it as too much of a big deal, but now it's kind of like gotten like a big deal. But I'm not going to get into the whole politics on it or my stance on it because, quite frankly, I'm still not educated on it, and it's kind of ignorance, which I'm okay with right now because I got things to like. I'm not here to keep tabs on like. I think the most important thing right now is focusing on yourself, finding your lane. As much as crazy stuff is going on, and people are like, "Oh, but we gotta pay attention to it. People are dying. Everybody dies." Like as much as you know, everyone dies and everyone experiences tragedy too, and we're seeing this collectively happen on a big scale. So obviously we can be sensitive to the issue, but like it's hard to pick a side when I've also got my own my own stuff to focus on as well. So I'm not gonna get too much into that. um so life is crazy. That's all I gotta say, and we got to figure out ourselves here, and also figure out like I think it's important. Like I don't know why people have savior complexes, thinking that they can save whichever side is happening when they can't even save themselves. How are you gonna like? Cool, you're talking about stuff. You're talking head about certain issues. What are you gonna do about it? You know, people don't. People will let you talk days on days about issues. You can have talk shows about what's happening right now, right? But what are you gonna do about it? I mean, that's just the that's getting close to a bottom line, right? So, anyways, let me see. Bitter gives me the carita de leon. If the taste sense can be fooled to not sense sour lemon, is what I mean. Oh, so you're talking about that? Yeah, actually, I mean, well, there's everyone finds like maybe I don't know if this is a good comparison or not, but like if you're let's give the example of like I mean, I do video editing, right? Video editing means that you're manipulating images. So you're taking the baseline image and changing the color intentionally, though, so that it's a different experience. So obviously, in food science, they're manipulating certain chemicals and certain compounds, yeah, that trick your sense of taste. I don't know what's the exact chemical compounds that are doing something, but they are manipulating something. And I don't know how much. So you can manipulate something and it won't break something. I'll say it like that. So I'm saying this in the context of video editing. I was using that example because so when you start to manipulate an image, and specifically you're trying to manipulate the color in it, there's a certain point you reach where that image breaks, and you'll start to actually see the pixels in the image because you did too much on it. So, um, you know, so obviously, um, you're talking about the reliability though, or being fooled about something and being able to rely on the senses. And I think it's just people using their artistic ability to create something, a different experience for somebody. But then it goes into the chemical compound, right? So is the chemical compound that they're using to change the experience for somebody like harmful, right? So I don't think there's nothing wrong with changing someone's experience in the sense of like, oh, they're getting a different experience, but does that compound, like does it damage them, right? Does it break them? That's kind of how I'm seeing it right now, but let me know your thoughts on that because like still an idea that I would have to think more on. Um, but yeah, how much of desire for food is meant from memory or good tasting food or emotional memory? Uh, how much of desire for food is from memory or of good tasting food or emotional memory, like your mom's cooking or holiday food? Ooh, that's another good question. That's a I think it's very specific for everybody, right? Because the level of impact that your mom's food may be nothing for someone it may be nothing, and for somebody it may mean the world that their mom cooks in this particular manner. So it's just like the weight of, like it's just the weight that you feel from the moment. It's like oh wow, mom's, if you're that kid and you're like thinking back and you're like, oh wow, mom's cooking the food, and you associate good cooking with your mom. It's kind of like you're looking at the associations that you're making in your head about your experiences in your memory. So if everything was good, good memories, and then that particular setting was so strong, right? Just the atmosphere, the room that you're in when your mom makes it, everything that goes down to how your mom sets up and cooks, and the smell from the kitchen. If that's like the weight, and if that's your entire experience with your mom's cooking, that's going to be a heavy weight. That's going to be like a very emotional thing that can come up for you. um we're saying like how much of desire for food is from memory of good tasting food or emotional memory. So it can be a lot. It can be a lot of it. It's like a lot of it is subconscious. A lot of it is anchored. And we like to see reality like based off of these perceptions and off of these subconscious things. So a lot of it is anchored in that. So if you had a mom that's very good at cooking, like obviously it's going to be your standard. It's going to be your expectation on things, and you can be self-aware of that for sure. Like you have that pattern, like you expect a lot from what you eat because of your mom was that way. She expects a lot from her cooking. So you're like mom's home cooking, good memories. You hit the good memories, right? They're flooding in. They're flooding in. Anyone that believes they are chosen above anyone else is not on the path. We make things so complicated. Um, isn't unpleasant taste a test of manhood somewhere in Africa? I don't know actually. That's a I personally though, this is gonna sound weird too, but something that you mentioned right there. I've personally had that in me too. I am African, and I've always done that actually, which is kind of weird that you mentioned that. I've always like put bitter food in my mouth just to be like, can I handle can I handle the bitterness? Like spinach was one of them. I remember as a young person growing up, obviously I hated spinach and I hated bitter food. But I was like, nah, let me try some of this bitter stuff so I can see how I react. So I'd always like try that, to see, yeah, to test like some of that manhood, because definitely like I'm definitely in that headspace for sure. Any food that can challenge like again my palate, if you will, something that can also test my body. A food that can do that. I definitely try to push the limits in that, and and obviously I do it around healthy food. Like if a healthy food that's bitter, that tastes disgusting, like if I can handle that, I think that is a sign of being a man. So, but I don't know. I don't know if that's a test of manhood, but I do it all the time. It's just kind of funny you mentioned that. Kind of funny you mentioned that. Cause I've yeah. What's the one that I tried most recently? Um, For me, no, for me mainly it's been spicy food actually. I've been trying to eat a lot of spicy peppers to like because before like I would tear up and just be like, damn, this is too much. But I've eaten so much spicy stuff that I'm just like starting to be immune to it. I'm just like, yeah, I can handle spicy, I can handle that. You know, uh, it's unpleasant in the like imagine you're eating dinner with friends and everything and you pull out the spicy stuff and you're having to sit there just like in the heat of the moment and you're just like, gosh, this is spicy. But you have to hold it in, like and act like, oh yeah, that's nothing. Like that's part of it, right? That's part of a life. That's a certain mindset, So I definitely invite unpleasant taste. I know I've obviously I think being picky is a personality trait too, and rightfully so. You have your own preferences, but sometimes I like to not be picky for the sake of like challenging my growth. Like might as well try this new thing or might as well try this new food to might as well try it to grow, to see how I react to. Again, spicy food is a perfect thing to try to uh, challenge your ability to take things in or handle the spiciness of life, right? 'Cause life can get hot, life can get very spicy. Some people have that as a personality trait too, so you got to handle people that are spicy. I mean, obviously, there's certain races and demographics of people that are more spicier than others. So, Mexican people, Latin culture, more spicy people. So, but going back to this though, anyone believe that they're chosen above anyone else is not on the path. Um, and I would also, I mean, this is an interesting statement. I think there is though such thing as privilege and favor in life. Like, I mean, don't you think though? Like, some people are born in families and are given certain privileges because they are chosen by their lineage to be greater than everyone else. And obviously, it's because what their father did or whatever, the sacrifices that their family made. So it's given to them, right? They are chosen above other people to be in that higher position. So I think sometimes life is, I mean, some people say that's unfair, but I mean, they were chosen, right? I mean, I think that sometimes life can be like that, where it's like, oh, I think some people are chosen above others. I mean, obviously, advertising it as like, oh, I'm chosen above you, though, is narcissistic. And I mean, like, yeah, I mean, obviously, trying to superimpose yourself over somebody, in the sense of like, you're, you think you're better than them just because, you think you're better than them just because, I don't know, because you're entitled, is a dumb. Like, I think that's stupid. But if I think royalty, right? Royalty is something that is earned or it's given to you. I mean, that's kind of what being chosen is understanding that you're royalty, right? That some part of you wants to rule and reign over something, and that to rule and reign over something, you have to be above. But being above doesn't mean, again, there's the lines of Satanism, right? And I can show an icon. I mean, I think Belton might know about this icon here, but this is the sign of let me see. But here's an icon or a piece of art here that that illustrates this point here, right? When we talk about being chosen. Um, yeah, exactly. I see your comment, but there's a there's an icon and a piece of art that we can look at and behold here, um, that illustrates the power of being chosen and what it is to be chosen. So great, right? Someone believes they're chosen above anybody else, right? All right, then we can show them this piece of art, and this is where they're gonna have to end up. And this is exactly, all right. You're chosen. You're chosen above everybody else. All right. This is exactly what you're gonna have to face. So know that, right? So this is the piece of art that we can look at, and so this is, you have to pick a route. Look at this. That's the exact. I mean, that's what you're gonna have to face. You think you're chosen? All right. Either you choose right there in that moment to look to heaven, ask for help and ask for grace. Look down. Don't raise yourself above everybody else, or you can be prideful about it and like, yeah, say you don't need to enter into, like you say right here. There's definitely grace and favor. It's easy for camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. So, all right, yeah, you think you're chosen. That's where you're going to end up right there. And that's an experience internally, right? It's an inner experience, as well as, I mean, shoot, I wouldn't be surprised if externally too that happens as well. So There you go. If you're chosen, understand that. Just look at that painting and just understand what's there. You know, that's where you're gonna probably find yourself. That's where the road goes sometimes, you know. So as you're growing and elevating in your spirit and you feel yourself raised, you know, on the highest point, right? Because the cross is one of the highest points of suffering, you know, and when you're raised at one of the highest points, make a choice, you know, where you're gonna go or which one you're gonna be. And for people that don't know the story, you know, let me see, you know, it's the crucifixion, obviously, it's the icon of the crucifixion, the story of the thieves and the robber. And let me pull up the exact quotes. I don't want to misquote stuff. And let's see. I mean, general gist though is that so it's mind numbing, right? When you go through suffering, it numbs your mind, makes you feel dead. That's the thing with people, right? Like, and especially I feel like with me or with other people that are high achievers too, or people that seek to have higher aims. Of course, you're gonna think that like, of course, when you go through all that pain and all that suffering, you know, you're gonna start to become numb and cold and like hardened. And you know, all that agony will make you stronger in yourself. And at the same time, it can make you boastful. But that suffering leads you up to that point right here, is also the point. Now, you know, these two thieves, you know, were on the cross. And let me see. One of the thieves listened to the message of salvation and, you know, was taken to paradise and taken to heaven. You know, and the other one, let me go and pull out the story. And let me see. Where are the quotes at? It's crazy. One second. And when they came to the place that is called the skull, so this is important to state, right? This is also esoteric as well as like, exoteric. So inner and outer, esoteric inner, exoteric outer. But so I'll read a little bit of the passage. But and when they came to the place that is called the skull, like esoteric, like the skull, then they crucified him, and the criminals, one on his right and one on his left. And Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they know Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." And they cast lots to divide his garments. And the people stood by watching. But the rulers scoffed at him, saying, "He saved others, let him save himself. If he is a Christ, the Son of God, his chosen one." The soldiers mocked him, coming up to him and offering him sour wine and saying, "If you are the King of Jews, save yourself." So, and then right here it says, "If he is the Christ of God, his chosen one, you know, save yourself, he is the Christ of God, if he's the chosen one." The soldiers also mocked him, coming up and offering him sour wine and saying, "If you are the King of Jews, save yourself." There's also an inscription over him saying, "The King of the Jews." One of the criminals were hanged, railed at him, saying, "Are you not the Christ? Save yourself and us." But the other rebuked him, saying, "Do you not fear God, since you are under the same sentence of condemnation? We indeed justly, for we are receiving the due reward of our deeds. But this man has done nothing wrong." And he said, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." And he said to him, "Truly I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise." So there's just a difference of attitudes, right? The difference of attitudes. You know, like, yeah, you said whether it's believer or not, you know, it's a difference of attitudes where one of them says boastfully, like do something about it, you know, like save us, like we need, like do, like they're under condemnation, Like they're under the fear of their actions, right? They did stuff that they weren't supposed to do, and they got caught out, and they were punished for it. And it's like, well, the other guy also got caught out too, but he also realized too that like everyone's under that same judgment. Everybody lives under the sword of the law. Everyone lives under the sword. So, like you say, whether you're a believer or not, it's a beautiful example, a powerful example of teaching. So, okay, you don't believe in Jesus, is cool. Well, at least understand that you're under the law, just like anybody else. And so, if you're looking for saving, you have to put your head down and be like, you know what? Let me accept. Let me be an acceptance of what I've done. Let me be an openness and acceptance of how I am. So, but let me stop that. But yeah, so there's definitely grace and favor. It's easier for a camel to pass a needle. So yeah, no, grace and favor is a real thing. Like, so an example in the Bible of this too would be like when John the Baptist stooped his head low, because John the Baptist was a great guy. Everyone saw him as great. Imagine, so think of that too. You may have someone that's in your life that's great, and you're like, oh no, but we're saying we're the equal. No, you're not. John the Baptist was very great. He was above everybody else, but he's also humble. Is a thing. So, but then John also saw someone coming that was greater than him, right? Which was the Christ. And even him, he had to be like, you know what? I'm not that great compared to this guy. He had the humility to recognize, like, you know what? Yeah, I'm not that great compared to this guy. This guy's, whoever's coming into the world right now, he's greater than I am. So there's tiers, there's levels, there's graces, there's favors. We see it all throughout the world. I try yarrow tea. The first taste will make your tongue try to escape. Oh, yarrow tea, yeah. All right, I'll look into it. Yarrow tea. I like a little challenge. So write that down, right? Hogdan, write that one down. Yarrow tea. We gotta have a tea session here where everyone has a tea out, and then we're all just drinking yarrow tea. That'll be funny. Yarrow tea. That'll be. That's a good set. Talk about setting, right? Some yarrow tea on a live stream. So there you go. So though above all else, choose to be humble himself. Though above all, chose to be humble himself, even unto the. I'm tripping up. Though above all, chose to humble himself, even unto the death on the cross. Exactly what the crucifixion teaches us. So yeah, exactly, right? So again, if you're anybody, if you're like somebody you're excelling in your career, you put in all this work, you suffered all this stuff, right? The crucifix, right? The crucifixion, you suffered all these things just to get to where you're at, just to be where you're at. And then we're taught here that despite all of your sufferings, despite all the things you did, you humbled yourself unto the point of death, right? Even death on the cross. So dead to yourself, dead to the world. But humility is another topic that can be talked about too, because it's another rabbit hole that we can get into. But whether you're a believer or not, it's a beautiful power example. We all fall. Yeah, we all fall. We all fall. I tried. I remember trying so hard. I'm like, I think in my earlier years, honestly, I think I was more pure than anything else. Like, I didn't really have too much of an influence. Like, I think I was quite clean. Like you don't. Obviously, my parents are very strict, which meant that obviously I couldn't fall or I'd be severely punished. But you get obviously you get some freedom, and also you get upset about the fact that your parents are strict sometimes. And you do stuff like Like you don't listen to your parents, you're rebellious, you don't show respect, and you learn from your mistake though. You're like, okay, no, you're right, let me get back on track. Stuff like that. Stuff like that just looks like, I mean, honestly, I don't even think I've done it crazy. Um, I mean, I don't know, just either way though, I feel like I've reconciled to either way with my relationship with my parents, so there's nothing even major, just misunderstandings, me being younger too, not, I mean, I don't know, just me being younger, stuff like that. I'm just like in my own headspace, in my own world, and I didn't have boundaries, and it's part of life. So, but the not having boundaries thing is very important. I think not having boundaries makes you more susceptible to be controlled by people. So I think I was a very nice person growing up. Like that's how people would treat me. Very nice. I let things go, let things slide, and then I wondered why I wouldn't have anything. It's like, yeah, because you're being too nice. It's like it's a pattern that you can pick up from early childhood, and it can affect your adult life. And that's a mistake. You talk about mistake. Being too nice is a mistake. Um, there's neutrality in things. Um, you said in the Bible says honor your father and mother, even though it doesn't say to love them. Yeah, honor means that you just give what is due. It's like, okay, I see what you did. I see how it shaped things, but it's two sided, right? It's like I think at the end of the day, if I, had my own children too, like, I mean, you have your own son, so I mean, you could speak more on it too. But like, I wouldn't want to control my son. I would give him counsel. I think it kind of has to be seen like a kingdom, right? It's like there has to be counsel, there has to be an order that's present, and having an order present means that you walk the walk, you talk the talk. It means that the energetic quality that you carry is royalty, right? It's that you have a kingdom that you just built, and there's structure. There's a structure in it, and that like yeah, and like part of the kingdom though is that yeah, there's like you say, there's servitude, but there's also like there's counsel is very important, right? Knowing that your son can go to you and have counsel, but at the same time they can experience life without you trying to over control them. It's a very hard thing to understand. Like, wait a minute, your kid can have a certain difference than you, and they can they can do their own thing. Like, and I can't control that. It's a hard pill to swallow. That like they're their own individual, and like, but obviously in the earlier stages, right? That there's stages to the growth of a child that has to be paid attention to, and they're more suggestible in certain stages. So that is when the order in which your family lineage has to be apparent. Whereas if things are chaotic growing up, you can be easily influenced. Like if there's no structure in your family, especially in the earlier stages, it can leave a hole in the kid. And specifically with Orthodox tradition, it's like it's stated that even your sins by proximity, like if you commit a sin in your family, it'll affect even the movements of your child. Your child can also fall into certain sins, or it can open up a kind of portal for your child to experience something dark sometimes. So, you're also accountable as well. You can't just be out here demanding stuff without you being the man, right? And being the one that holds it down. And rightfully so, it kind of falls back on you at the end of the day, I think. So it takes a lot of manning up, it's like there's masculinity, it's like there's no limits to it. There's no limits to the level of how masculine you can be and how strong you can get. But like, it's like, but you actually got to apply yourself, right? You actually got to do the stuff. So it's hard. Lead by example and not just by speech is the most important thing. I think if I were to have a son, like I know that I would have to be in a spot where I'm like solid. Like I'm not. I know I wouldn't be messing up my child and providing instability or being unstable. Because as soon as I've seen with myself, at least I'm just evaluating even my own childhood and some stuff too. Certain things happen, right? Life happens, no judgment, and like, but things can get chaotic, and depending on where you live too, and your house and your setting, you got to protect your family, and sometimes dangerous things can happen around you, and those kind of fears can influence also your children, and depending on their soul too, they may have a warrior spirit. They may be more intellectual. They may, I don't know how your son is, but he may be more intellectual. He may be more of a warrior spirit, or he may be even of a certain wealth quality. Like he may have the capacity to receive wealth in his lifetime. Like these are different things that also I think is important when raising somebody, right? And just things that I think about too sometimes, just random. But let me see. Yo, let's see how to check it out. Yeah, no, I'm sure I gotta see what it is. I gotta belted might be onto something, right? You say don't be too hard on yourself. Kids are open and often used by demonic forces to push buttons. Oh yeah, 100%. But I think part of being hard though is like I'm only hard on myself. I'm not hard on people. If that makes sense. Like, um, I can soften things too. Like I think I have a decent control over my functions in a way where like I'll be hard certain seasons because I mean honestly I'm doing a lot of stuff right now and that requires me to be hard. Like, I know there's a certain standard I have to be at before I give a release of like softness. So right now I have also an edge, and like a certain like strength that I think is needed. I need to put that force into something. But probably within the next few months, like soften out. And I've been softening out a little bit. So it's kind of like a balance and a constant like, you're playing with hardness and tension to softness and gracefulness. So I think that's part of growth in life. But yeah, I'm pretty hard, pretty like tough right now and hard on myself at least because I know what needs to be done and can't be soft around it. Like you can't be soft around certain things. So, or you can't let things slide, is kind of the thing I'm saying. But, this comes with standards on certain things, like I think even having a podcast, right, or channel on YouTube, it's like, you gotta have certain standards. Um, and I remember there's a lyric that I'll recite, but it's like, someone was like, I've been ducking my demons again. I've been ducking my demons again, like, fuck, here come the demons, right? And I've been ducking my demons again. I'm weak and I can't stand it. The fact that you fall into like you fall prey towards the demons and your weaknesses is like, I've been ducking my demons again. I'm weak and I can't stand it, man. Like it's like fuck. Like I need to get stronger. But I think it's like once you get strong though, it's like you can be softer, you can be chill. It's like, but it's like damn, like I've been ducking those demons again. Like I can't believe them. They're coming. So I can't stand that. That I give into them. So, but you got to fight the good fight. It's a war. You know, it's a war. Last time I checked, I didn't see these. I didn't see. I haven't seen a warrior yet. Or maybe there's a warrior out there that is a unicorn. That's all like. Maybe the term is gay. Not like homosexual gay, but like all gay, happy. Like I haven't seen a warrior that's like feminine. That's like too soft. Um, I think warriors are quite strong, stoic, and are not moved easy. So, we're in warrior mode right now. It's gotta just gotta. There's a time for war, right? There's a time for to be a warrior, and there's a time to, it's the what is it? What is that book again? It's the Wisdom of Solomon, right? There's a time for this. There's a time for that. Time to do this. Time to do that. The Wisdom of Solomon. So I think time to be hard, time to be soft, and that's just the seasons. Time for this, time for that. Um, we say the Bible says honor your mother and father. Yeah, exactly. Even though it says love them, or we just went over that. To be hard on yourself, kids are demonic, and the demonic courses too. Yeah, I mean, it's real. I've seen it in their eyes. I used to work with kids. I used to be around kids, and yeah, that was an experience, because it's like you got to learn about reward. You got to learn how to reward them, and you got to learn how to not, like know when to give and know when to take. You got to learn who's the one that like sometimes when you give a kid an inch, sometimes you give a kid a little inch, they'll turn it into a mile. You know, you let them get away with this one thing, they'll keep on trying to get away with it. Those are kids. You show a little bit of weakness, they'll tease you too, and then they'll throw it back on you. They'll be like, so even if, for example, a kid made fun of you, right, and they're like, haha, you're dumb, or they say some kind of insulting thing. You know, um, they say something very insulting to you, and then, or I'm just saying in the context of working with kids, right? It's just, and they say something insulting, and then like obviously you want to say something insulting back. They're probably gonna get their feelings hurt, and like they're gonna go tell teacher or the principal that you said this about them. So it's like they can do it, but you can't. Talk about fair, right? And the number one thing that kids will always bring up is that, hey, that's not fair. That's not fair. They get to do that. That's not fair. Like that's a, that's those are kids, right? It's like they look for fairness. They're like, hey, that's not fair. Like you can't do that. But then, they'll go off and do the very thing that you tell them not to do. Those are kids. So also working through their stuff as they go. Um, yeah, it's interesting, right? Also working through their own stuff as they grow. Yeah, the kids are all constantly working through their own stuff. And it's important not to get in the way of that. Like if they're growing in their own way, just guide them, just gently guide them and be like, oh yeah, I see that. I see you as a person, and you're growing as a kid. I see you, and quite frankly, actually, I'm gonna be honest, like some kids are actually men. That's what people don't understand. Like my time working with kids, I've seen such wisdom and such depth in kids that I mean, I hate like when adults try to demean that in somebody, like, oh, you're just a kid, like you don't know anything. Oh, when you're my age, you understand. Like these different things, like I've seen wisdom in kids that is just profound but simple. Like kids can be so wise. Like it's interesting. So when I look at a kid, I never underestimate them. I see how powerful kids can be. And I'm like, that is awesome. And any way that I can help guide you in that, like, great. I'm not gonna get in your way. You're the man. You're him. You're the person that can handle it. Kids already got it. They already got it down. They just need someone to gently guide them. They don't need me coming in and the know-it-all, telling them like they don't need me coming in and telling them like how everything is. But that's where where respect comes in, right? They see that I'm like that. I'm not trying to control them. Then they come up to me and they're like, hey, coach, like, what is that? Or what is, they're more open to you, and they're more I like, I mean, my experience working with kids, like they love me, they're like, hey, there's coach right there, there he is, it's like, hey, so it's like, because you take time to know them and like, oh, they're like this, and like they're open, and they're like, they're they're this way, and you spend time with them and you're present with them. I'm not greater than them just because I'm older. The wisdom that they have sometimes can be profound, and I learn from them sometimes too. I always learn from kids, so it's great stuff that you can always look at because different souls, and different souls have different wisdom. So, yeah, the time for this, time for that. Yeah, ecclesiastical. Yeah, Ecclesiastes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very biblical. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The little wink. Yeah, exactly right. It's our habitual nature. And you're like the veil for is thinner for kids, less indoctrination too. Exactly. So I ain't trying to. I'm not trying to be on the day of judgment, and be like, you messed up that kid right there. You told him the wrong thing. Think of that, right? It's like I ain't trying to lead this kid in the wrong path. Just not my thing. So if I see you, if I see that kid radiant, the veil is thin for them. They got it. Like I ain't trying to face that. I'm not trying to tell them like I'm not trying to get in their head, and I'm not trying to stamp them with my own mark. They've got their own mark. They've got their own legacy that they need to follow. I'm not trying to stamp them. They belong to the Most High, and I'm just a mediator. I'm just a middleman sometimes for that. So cool. Treat them like the way I see kids. Just treat them like your connecting point for God for them. Like how will God see them, right? It's like so. Just give them space to grow. Give them space to learn. Give them space to be curious. But also, but the curious thing can be dangerous, right? Thing can be dangerous for a kid. That's another topic. How to handle curiosity in a kid. Maybe you know something about that too, dealing with your, son and stuff, like how curious it can be and like where that can go. Because that, once you become curious as a kid, that opens up doors that go very deep. You don't want to let a kid be too curious now. That's where discipline and structure comes in too, having that correction. So, I was talking a little bit open and nice about kids, but there is discipline, there is correction. So, but you better discipline and correct in the right way for the right thing. Because as soon as you see that, like as a kid gets curious and they open up those doors and they're starting to think about things, and especially like, they go through puberty, they think about who they want to, who they want to date and things like that, all that kind of stuff. Like it can get into a whole bunch of problems, a whole bunch of problems. It may not be good for you either. It may not be good for you either. So, oh man. But yeah. Alrighty. Well, I am going to get going here soon. I have 3 hours, put in a whole shift, a whole shift for this. That's funny. But yeah, I think a good way to end though is obviously playing the grand entry, which is a theme song, which also, if people want to check out, those of you who are watching the live stream, you can always check it out. I have what's online, and you can buy it for $2.99 on my website right here. And it's a great song. I'll play a little bit of it as we are exiting here. Yeah, it's a song. We have a community on Discord, and the Expanded Minds community. And simply put, my goal with this community is to grow a paid structure around spiritual discipline where I can pay people for their spiritual practice. And also you're around people that are serious about their growth spiritually, so I have the structure here, and you can take a look at the structure that I have on this website link. It's a great idea, read through it, and that it's a big thing, and yeah, so if if people can come together, practice, and there's money involved, I mean, I think for me that's a win-win, like, and also the most important thing though, besides the community and everything too, is that like we give to the church. And the number one statement is you build the church. That's kind of the main thing that comes first, is that me personally, like tithing, something I do, giving to people that are spiritual, that are awakened and enlightened, helping their growth. And it's important to give to people that are enlightened and help them grow. So that's the main thing, tithing, giving that blessing to other people as well. So that's part of it. And then we have a monthly giveaway with it as well, where part of the earnings too from the community will be given back to somebody as well. And that's what we stand on. And love to give, so I love to give back to the people as well. And then also we have the structure of the community, which is in a private Discord. So enough selling, because I know people don't like to be sold on stuff, but that's just how stuff is, and that's just how it is. So you can check out the link right there. You're like, hey man, brother, time for bed. And night all. Good night to you too, man. It's good at the food. Good conversation. I love how we opened up about food and how much we enjoy food. So yeah, great conversation, and everyone also have a good night. And yeah, peace out to everybody.